Welcome to this afternoon's Lunchtime Learn with My People Club, all about how to overcome hurdles and barriers. And this is a little snippet taken from the mini coaching course that we recently published and put onto our shop. We just thought there was a really important part of that to help people who are not thriving in these challenging times at the moment. And we thought that a really good way to help them, not only with the mini coaching course, is maybe just to give a bit of insight in what could be holding them back at the moment. What are those hurdles and barriers, and how can you overcome them? So we thought we'll do that for today's Lunchtime Learn. So just a bit of a reminder about My People Club, and with it being an online membership platform aimed pretty much for HR professionals, coaches and trainers, co-founded by myself and Christina Peterson, and the website is at www.mypeopleclub.com. So what do our members get? Well, if they're in HR, then there's a fantastic resource center in there that literally has hundreds of template letters. There are guide documents, there are processes, policies, everything you need in order to effectively run a HR department. And we know there's a lot of people out there who are new to HR, or maybe they're in small to medium-sized companies where they are the only person, they are the only HR person in there, and they don't have all the support at hand, they don't have all the documentation, and they need it, and we've got it there in one place for them. Now, if you're a coach, you're new to coaching, or maybe you're a manager that is looking to improve how they take a coaching style with their teams, then there's a whole section there dedicated on coaching, where there's lots of development resources, coaching models, coaching tools, assessments to assess your skill set as a coach, and also assessment forms you can use for yourself and with your clients in order to evaluate how coaching sessions have gone. And then in the training section, which is aimed for people who run training departments, learning and development departments, or who are self-employed trainers, again, there's lots of assessment forms, skills assessments, but there's a load of tools in there that will be really helpful for those people. So icebreakers, specific case studies they can use. We've got some example slide packs that they can take in order to run within their organizations as well. So if you're within HR coaching and training, then there is a whole raft of information within the members website. And then for everyone, we've got some masterclasses. So we have external experts coming in every month who prepare some masterclass videos for us, along with a workbook. There's also a quiz at the end, so people can take the quiz, and when they pass it, get a certificate. And really, those masterclasses are covering areas that Christina and I don't cover. It's not our expertise. We want to bring in people who have the specific knowledge and skills and can share those with our members. So we had 4 of them ready when we launched. We released another one at the beginning of April. We didn't launch one in May just because of everything that was going on. We just thought we didn't want to overwhelm our members with them feeling like they needed to look at another masterclass when they've got a whole lot of other stuff going on. So we delayed it by a month, but we are launching the next one on the 1st of June with a fantastic lady called Danny Wallace with her masterclass. And that's just in the process of being finalized now. And there'll be a Q&A midway through June to ask her any questions and pick her brains. And we also have a mentoring process within My People Club. So where we do have more junior HR professionals or coaches or trainers, and they want to get help from other people who have been through the journey that's ahead of them, then they can reach out and use them as a mentor, or even more senior members can be a mentor themselves. And we've got a business directory which includes some discounts from certain organizations. And again, this is where we're trying to put our members in front of the businesses that offer products and services that we don't. So if you're a trainer and you need access to a company that sells training aids and resources, or someone that can offer rooms in a venue, meeting rooms in order to run your training, or as a trainer where you run your own business, you need help to market your business, you need help to get your business finances in order. We've got a lot of businesses in there that can specifically help you. So it's just another bit of value that we thought was really important to add to our members and their membership. So let's crack on with today's Lunchtime Learn. And there's essentially 2 areas that I want to go through kind of over the next 15 to 20 minutes. The first one is helping us look right here, right now, and just think to ourselves, what is in the way? What's in the way of me progressing, me developing, me growing, reaching my goals, and how can I move past all of that? The second bit then is, having thought about that really honestly and openly and started to think about how to move past it, it's important also to look ahead and just think, what lays ahead that could impact me, that I know about, or that I know will happen at some point, even if I can't put a time frame around it. And obviously, coming out of this lockdown and COVID is a great example of something that will happen ahead that we can't put a timescale on, but we can be ready for. So we'll think about how we can lessen the impact of what lays ahead. So let's crack in with that first bit, really about right here, right now, and what's in the way. And really, to make this work for us, we've got to be brutally honest. And quite often when we're approaching new activities, new projects, new tasks, new collaborations, new business ideas, we know there are things in our mind that stop us progressing. Maybe we've tried it before. Maybe we've tried collaborating with someone before and it didn't work. Maybe we thought we were good at a certain activity and it turned out we weren't as good as we thought. We hold on to those experiences and they hold us back. And it's really important to be honest about them and to think, well, what was it that didn't quite work? What didn't go to plan? What didn't work as well? And what can I do about that? And can I do something about it? Or maybe do I need to take a different approach? So being honest, being realistic, and being determined to get past it is really important. So when we try to be honest, we step back, and if we take an example, let's say we are wanting to, in this new environment, we're wanting to adapt what we do so that we do it more online, and we want to start running video. We might have tried it before years ago, maybe using different technology like Skype or FaceTime that didn't have the functionality and the features that we now know with things like Zoom that allow us to run sessions more interactively and use the functionality better. Now, if our previous experiences are based on something different and they didn't quite work, then we just need to recognize that and think, right, do I need to learn that product better? Do I need to work out a better way of using it? Or actually, do I need to explore other options? The end result I want to achieve is that I present myself online to an audience and I talk about what I do. I talk about a service, I share a product. Maybe it's a one-to-one conversation with someone, but I want to be able to do that online. So therefore, really honestly, what's going to make that really effective? What needs to be different from the last time? We then need to think realistically about how we approach that. So do we have the confidence in the technology to use it to best effect? Or actually, do we need someone to train us to use the technology? Do we need someone to sit beside us, to flick through the slides as we're doing it, to set up the Zoom session, to make sure the background is right, it's recording, we know how to allow participants in, we know how to set up and activate breakout rooms, all that kind of stuff. Is it something we can learn ourselves realistically and confidently and be able to use it in that moment? Or do we need someone to train us? Or do we need someone to run it for us, using that as an example? So just be really realistic about what's it going to take to remove that certain barrier hurdle and get better at it. And it's worth thinking about the specific thing that's in mind. And when you're being realistic, again, be honest with yourself and think, is it something that you want to do? If learning new technology, learning how to use something different just doesn't interest you, it's something that would take 15 times longer than someone else, then maybe just realistically trying to learn it is the wrong answer. And it's better off having someone else to join your meeting, act as a co-host and let them do it for you, so that you can then just be brilliant at talking and presenting and sharing your ideas and sharing your knowledge. If you know actually you do love learning new stuff, you love getting stuck in, rolling your sleeves up and playing with it, then fantastic. You know you're going to learn it. You know you'll thrive in just in that small exercise of trying to improve your knowledge and experience in something new. So just be realistic about, can I learn this? Can I get through this hurdle or barrier? And then importantly, be determined that you want to do it and take action. So if it is, in the example we've used about using a new bit of technology, you know you're going to learn it, you know you can do that, then just think about how are you going to do it and when are you going to do it. If you've got a target of launching a new online presentation in 2 weeks' time, you've got 2 weeks in order to learn that new tool, get really familiar with it so that you're absolutely ready in that 2 weeks. So you've got to break that down a bit. The first bit is to download everything you need. The second bit then is to get familiar with all the functionality. Then maybe you want to run a bit of a demo and just get some friends to join so that you can just check all the features, check everything works, and you're absolutely confident with it. So it's important to break down that plan and not leave it to the last minute, because then you won't learn that new thing as effectively as you could, and the end result won't be to the quality that you want it. So be honest. What is holding me back? What's getting in the way? What do I need to learn? What do I need to do differently? Realistically, how can I overcome that? And when I've thought about what I need to do to overcome it, then plan it in, get it planned in, and break that down day by day so that you know what you've got to do. So having thought about all the things that are getting in the way, and whether that is a mindset thing, it's a knowledge, it's skills, it's behaviors, and you put a plan in place, the important thing then is to think, well, what's laying ahead? What else is there that could happen? So we talked around, as I introduced it, I talked around kind of the lockdown, and COVID is a great example. So you might think, okay, so I'm launching this new online presentation in 2 weeks' time. I know I need to learn how to use Zoom. I know I've got a bit of a phobia when it comes to new tech, but I'm determined to learn it. I've lined someone up to teach me. I've got a test session booked with my 3 best friends who are going to humour me and sitting on the session. I know I'm going to be ready for that 2 week time. Now, in maybe 5 weeks' time, 6 weeks' time, 3 months' time, lockdown might ease, and suddenly the world will try to get back to something like it did before, where we actually start running presentations face to face. But there'll also be an element where we carry on in an online world. So we're going to look ahead and think, having spent all this time learning this new tool, getting myself confident, practicing, getting everything ready, is it going to then just be dead in the water in 3 months' time? Or do I want to carry on? And actually, do I want to make it a part of my business? Online presenting, online training, online coaching. Or do I adapt? And actually, am I going to have a mix of online presence and face-to-face presence? That's something that lays ahead. We don't have a specific timescale on it, but we know it's there. And with that as an example, we've got 3 choices we can make. We can either avoid something and just make it go away. We can try and mitigate it where we know it's going to happen, but we don't want it to be as impactful as it potentially could be. Or we just accept that it's going to happen and we just sit patiently and wait until that point. So what do each of those 3 look like? So if we're to avoid it, essentially we're delegating, we're maybe ditching, or maybe we're delaying it. So we know at some point we've got to think about our new online presentation model and think, do I carry it on once we're out of lockdown, once we're out of this situation we're in, or do I adapt? Now, I might choose to delegate it. I might say, do you know what? I don't know enough about what this new world is going to look like. I've never developed my business that has an online and an offline presence to it, but I know other people who do, and I'd like them to do the thinking for me. So I'm going to delegate it to someone who is a bit of an expert when it comes to running a business online and offline, and presenting about their skills and knowledge, and let them do the thinking for me and put a bit of roadmap in place, which I will follow so that I know what I've got to do between now and when lockdown happens. Maybe just ditch it, and I might say, do you know what? Lockdown is going to ease up and I just want to be doing it online. I'm not going to change it. I'm going to learn everything. I'm going to make sure that I'm bloody brilliant delivering stuff online, and then I'm going to carry on that way. And rather than worry about getting face to face with people, I'm going to purely have an online business and take it across the UK, even outside of the UK, because the technology boundaries suddenly aren't the same as geographical boundaries and getting somewhere in person. So I'm just going to ditch the whole thing about going back to offline. Or maybe you delay it. Maybe you say, do you know what, actually, I'm not going to worry about being in the right position for when lockdown eases. I'm going to wait and see what happens. So if I assume that come the beginning of July, things change, venues open up, we're able to get to different places to run training sessions, I'm not going to worry about being at the forefront of that. I'm going to let other people do that. I'm going to let them experience how good or bad that might be. And as we go through July and into August, I'll see how successful it is, and maybe then I'll start looking at what I've got to do. But you've got a choice there when you avoid it. You can either delegate it to someone else to take care of, just completely ditch it and say, I'm not even going to waste any energy or emotional time on it, or you just delay it and say, actually, I'm just going to watch. and see what happens and make a decision a bit further on, and then I know I'll have to do something. But that means it just doesn't distract me right now or in the immediate future. Another option is to mitigate it. So actually, what am I going to do to mitigate how my business will run when lockdown eases? If I've started this new online presence, this online training, how do I make sure that it's not such a big impact when I suddenly need to think about, do I carry on like this, or do I go back to kind of running sessions face to face? Well, maybe I can mitigate it by talking to other people who are doing the same thing and see what their thoughts are. And maybe there's something we can do together with that, and we can start prepping some plans together and supporting each other through it. Maybe what I start doing is saying, actually, I'm going to put in place a business model that sees me doing what I do online for the next 12 months. And that'll be great, because for some people that'll work who can't travel hundreds of miles to one of my face-to-face sessions. So I'm going to have online. But what I'm going to do maybe is just start testing the water with my clients and ask them, when we do come out of lockdown, who would want to do some face-to-face stuff? Who would want to go back to some face-to-face training? Who would want to go back to face-to-face networking? Who would want to have one-to-ones with me as a coach in person, in a coffee shop, or in a meeting room? And just understand what the appetite might be. Because actually, if my clients say, you know what, I don't care when lockdown happens, I'm going to stay at home for another 6 months just to be totally safe, then fine, there's no point in me worrying about it. And if clients say, well, I don't want to come to an unknown venue, I'd rather you came to us and you trained all 10 of our staff in this great thing you do, then fine, I know there's a different scenario there and I can work through that with them. But just by opening out, reaching out to different people, reaching out to clients, asking questions, you can start mitigating the level of impact that will have further down the line. The final option is just to accept it and just say, do you know what, when lockdown eases, things will change. I don't know what they're going to look like. I don't want to waste time now delegating it to someone else, or even kind of just delaying it. I'm just going to let it happen when it happens, and I'll worry about there and then, because I'm fine with that and I'm comfortable with that. And it might be a headache, it might be painful, or actually I could be worrying over nothing, but I'm just going to choose to accept it. And for some, taking this option in terms of handling something that's looking ahead feels like not making a decision. It feels like they're saying, I'm not going to spend the time or energy on it right now, but actually you are making a decision. You're making a decision to not worry about it. You're accepting it. So these are the key three things when we look ahead to how we manage things that could come up, that could impact us, that could get in our way, that could hit us from the side and distract us. We can either avoid them, we can mitigate them, or we simply accept them. Now, in terms of how do we make our plan achievable, we took stock here and now of what's going on. We were really honest. We were realistic about what it takes, and we're determined to make a plan. What's really important is that we break down that plan. I used an example where I said, I want to run an online session in 2 weeks' time. That means I've got 2 weeks of a plan. So I'm going to break that down day by day, which would have been about downloading the new tech that I'm going to use, learning how to use it, doing a test session with some friends just to make sure I've got it absolutely right, making sure my content's good, making sure that I've advertised this new session and I've got it on Eventbrite or my website or on different Facebook groups or LinkedIn groups. It's really important that to make that plan happen, you've got to break it down into manageable chunks. And if it is a daily plan, make sure that what you're trying to achieve each day is realistic. If you start approaching the first day or the second day with too much work to do, then by the end of those 2 days, you won't have achieved what you wanted, and you're effectively putting another barrier in place. You're already behind. You've already got more tasks to do as you go into day 3 and 4, and that can be quite overwhelming. And again, overwhelm is another form of a barrier. It gets in the way and stops us really moving forward. And at the end of each day, review how you've done. What did I do that I said I was going to do at the beginning of the day? Have I done it all? And if I have, does that mean that the rest of my plan for the 2 weeks is looking really good? And if I haven't, and actually I tried to take on too much, then look ahead to the rest of the 2 weeks and say, do I need to replan this? And if I've got too much to do I need to get some help? Or do I just need to think about the essentials that I need in place and think about ditching some of the other bits? So it's really important just to take things day by day so that you can take stock of what's going on. And it's really important to reward yourself as well. You know, we're thinking in 2 weeks' time, I'm going to run this session. I want it to be amazing. I want it to be slick. I want it to be a full audience, and I want them to then engage with me further in any business, which will be a reward in itself. But actually, whilst I'm still at home, whilst I'm still locked down, whilst I'm still not able to get out and go and have a coffee with my best friend, or go and treat myself to lunch in the pub or dinner in the pub, what can I do that is rewarding myself? Maybe I say, do you know, if I get everything done today that I'd wanted to, that walk I'm going to do first thing in the morning, I'm just going to spend another 20 minutes. I'm going to just walk a bit further, and I'm not going to worry about being at my laptop and on email and on social media at the time that I normally am. Maybe I say, do you know what? If I get it all done and I hit the target that I've got for today and tomorrow, I'm going to have a longer Zoom session with my family. When we catch up on FaceTime with my sons, I'm going to make sure it's just a little bit longer. Or I'm just going to see if we plan another one in. Maybe you say, do you know what? It's a Thursday night. I'm going to have a little glass of wine. I've deserved it. I've earned it. I've worked hard. I'm going to have a glass of wine, and I might even order in a pizza or a Chinese. So just think, how do you want to reward yourself for getting stuff done? Because the process of getting stuff done, ticking stuff off a list in itself gives us a mental reward. But sometimes we've got to remember we're human, and we just need to celebrate getting stuff done. So think about what's going to bring me value, what will bring me some fun and enjoyment, and bring that in day by day, week by week. So that's really a summary in terms of how we conquer hurdles and barriers, how we take stock here and now, and how we look ahead and how we manage that. And as I mentioned, that's just a section that's within our mini coaching course that we've got out now on our shop. And the other bits of the coaching course really help you think about your mindset in terms of before you even approach what's going on here and now, before you think about the future, how do you get yourself into a really focused, determined mindset to move forward? And then how, as we've discussed, how do you make sure that you don't get frustrated at being held back or not being on top of things, but you know how to overcome those? So that mini coaching course is available on our website. It's broken down into 5 really easy to follow video modules, and it's got a comprehensive workbook that covers all the things that we're talking about in the videos, but also has a lot of space to make notes and fill in some of the exercises. And there's some additional resources we've got in there as well. So it's all that for £27 that's on our shop. And if you are a member, then you get a good 30% discount off that. So it's well worth taking a look. Finally, if you want to get in touch, if you want to find out more about My People Club, then please drop us an email or visit the website. And if you do want to join as a member, then you just can get onto the Join Today page, and you can check out more about us, get in contact with us, and just hear more from us through our social media across Facebook and Twitter. And we've got a YouTube channel. So all of these Lunchtime Learns, all of the masterclass teasers, the Q&As that we do with the masterclass experts, and much more all go onto our YouTube channel. So if you're watching this on playback, then you can head to our YouTube channel or just search My People Club on YouTube. And we're looking now at a podcast for the future. So looking in a couple of months' time to start putting a podcast out there. Just another way to get value and information and support out to our members and non-members. Thank you for joining today's Lunchtime Learn, and look forward to speaking to you all soon.